Hi, welcome to this Grandma's Life podcast. I'm your host, theciaellis. Get ready to laugh, learn, and grow with me as we explore growing old in an ever changing world. One of the good things about growing old is people judge you less when you sometimes say some outrageous things. I am getting older and I've had a fascinating life. I also have opinions. You may not agree with those opinions, and I may not care. Even now, I'm passionate about many things. I love to learn. I love quotes. I love my animals on the farm, and I care about my country. Join me as we explore loving life even as we age. Today is April 18, 2024, and this is episode 57. And oh, guys, talking about getting in there. This one's called "Let's Talk About the F Word." But first, let's talk about farm happenings. There's been a lot going on. Of course, it's springtime, so that's doing part of it. But there's more too. You know what? You guys know I have Kinsey, my granddaughter, and they had prom last Saturday night. And oh my gosh, guys, I know I'm grandma and everything, but her dress was beautiful. She was beautiful. Her date was handsome and very attentive and very good. And it just almost, well, it brought tears to my eyes more than once to look at them too. And I still even just look at some of the pictures that they sent to me at the event that they were at. There was an event place, and it was kind of interesting too. Not just because my proms, whenever I was a kid, is like, yeah, I'm here. You know, the music was loud. I was uncomfortable in my dress and stuff, and I just honestly, my senior prom, I just didn't stay but maybe 20 minutes. These guys had a ball. You can tell by like the whole slew of pictures that were taken how much fun all the kids had, as best I could tell. And that's really cool. And to look at Kenzie's face and see that she truly was happy was just really, really heart touch. It really touched my heart. All right. Next thing is I did have ducklings. I hatched a batch of ducklings, and I had, I believe, 14. I had 15. Apparently, I can't count. And I had 14 ducklings, and I kept them for a couple of weeks, and then I had a buyer come, and she bought all of them. So I no longer have ducklings, and that's all right with me too. Ooh, asparagus season. It has started, and for 2 or 3 weeks it was really slow. But the last 2 days, I've been getting some asparagus out of our beds, and I love it. We love, like, Saturday I put some on the grill, and that was really good. Tonight, I sauteed them with well, I usually do butter, but for some reason I did olive oil this time. Just nothing but olive oil and salt, and they're just as wonderful as they can be. Just put them on the stove, sauteing them. Kinsey is also part of a recreational softball league. Um, she wants to go to college with softball, and she's at a funny age because she's a junior this year, but she's going to be 18 in September, so she was too old for some leagues, and I don't know, we didn't have the connections. We don't know what we're doing, so she was doing a recreation league, and some of the kids in the recreation league are pretty good, and a lot of them are just, it's recreation. They just don't care that much. And so it's been a little bit difficult for her, but it is still getting her out on the field, and she's practicing and doing stuff. And her new boyfriend is pretty proficient in baseball, and he's been actually been tutoring her and helping her. And I believe he's going to help her really well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how she improves under his tutelage, because they were showing me some videos even this evening of what he was showing her and the differences and how she was batting and fielding and stuff. So yeah, even though she's on the recreation league, she at least she has someone who can be to coach her a little bit, and that's been kind of nice. I'm on Piglet Watch. I've got Crystal. She's definitely showing signs of pregnancy. I've been watching her for the last few days. In fact, the other day, I was trying so hard to get a new pig hut put together, and I kept thinking she was going into labor, but apparently I didn't know what I was talking about. But I got the pig hut done, and so now I have 3 pig huts, and four 7 piglets, and so I've got Daisy and Wilbur in a pen by themselves, because I'm hoping that they'll produce some piglets for me with Daisy, and then all the rest of them have been in the other place. Well, there's enough room in the pig hut for 4 of them, but not for a 5th one. So they needed another pig hut anyway. especially to be able to get it out of the sun or something like that too. I'm gonna, as the weather warms up and gets more warm, I will have to take, provide different shades and stuff like that for them. But right now, a pig hut is going to work out. That way, when Crystal does go into labor, I can sequester her away from the rest of the crew and even fence her off, and she'll have her own little hut to have her pigs in. So, like, yep, piglet watch is going on now. Um, the clips, we got about 95% here. So that was pretty cool. I did a video on that one and enjoyed doing it. I understand that it's nowhere near as good as 100%, but I didn't want to, I mean, because then there were several people I know that actually drove over into Arkansas, because we're in Northeast Oklahoma, and they drove over into Arkansas, whole family, extended family, whatever. I don't know. They're all kind of kin to each. Everybody in the country is kind of kin to each other in one form or another. So a bunch of them got in a couple of vehicles, drove to Arkansas out near a lake somewhere. And that was actually, it's kind of cool because where they went was rural enough that they didn't have a lot of uh, they had some traffic, but where they went, there wasn't very many people there at all. So it was actually a really pleasant experience for them. They really enjoyed it. All you had to do is ask them about the eclipse, and then they were telling you all about it, and that's neat. But I did a video. Like I said, of how my animals would do here with the eclipse, and I thought 95% was pretty good. But honestly, apparently, it didn't hold a candle to 100%. That's the way it goes. Had an interesting thing happen a couple of weeks ago too. Uh, the week before that, our neighbor behind us was working on the fence line, and my dogs was kind of harassing him a little bit. Not too bad, but because he was on our fence line in his own yard, the dogs were still barking. So Tom went to meet him and talked to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I knew your parent, your mom and your grandma and stuff." And so they kind of reconnected and under and uh just made points with each other, getting to know your neighbor and stuff. And he had said that his grandma had actually taken care of Tom's grandfather in his last days of his life. And Hubert Ellis apparently was having trouble with dementia and stuff in his last days, and this young man's grandmother had taken care of him. Well, we don't know the circumstances on it. We're talking about in the 80s. So was that 35 years ago? Something like that. I think the um, somehow when this young man was going through some boxes in the attic, he found Hubert's wallet, and he actually brought it back to Tom. And that was actually kind of cool because it had Hubert's driver's license. It had his youngest son's picture in it, and actually that man lives just around the corner from us, and he's in his 70s now. But and then there was another picture in there that was interesting. On tin. The picture was actually on tin of an old man with a big beard. Nobody's figured out who it is yet, so we don't even know how it got but that picture was in the wallet, and there were some receipts for carpet cleaning and stuff like that. So Tom really enjoyed receiving the wallet and getting to learn a little bit about his grandpa and stuff. So, like I said, we don't know how the wallet ended up. What the man said, he goes, he doesn't know for sure, but he thinks because his grandmother had done errands for great Hubert that she might have ended up with the wallet. But another speculation is that one of her sons was not a really not a real good person, and he probably took it just before Hubert died. But we don't know. All I know is Hubert's been dead for years and years. Grandma's been dead for a few years, and now Tom has a wallet, and he's enjoying it. Tom has been working in the garden. I try to take care of things. I try to keep things weeded to the best of my ability and take care of stuff like that. But as far as actual gardening, I don't do that. Tom's been doing that. But we've got tomatoes in the ground, potatoes, onions, and not much more than that. Oh, some squashes. And we had bought or I had Brussels sprouts and cauliflower, but the rabbits have gotten into the garden and eaten those down. So I don't know how much we're going to get out of that. But it is gardening season. We're not real good gardeners. I'm certainly not a good gardener, but that's the way it goes. So That's what the farm happenings are around here. My three things, if you'll remember, I like to, and several of us actually, write down three important things you want to accomplish for the day that also fold into things that is supposed to fold into things that you want to accomplish in your life in various places. To, you have my three things of an overarching goal, and the my three things you do each day helps you get to that. So my three things, today is I did the menu for our house for the next 2 weeks, and I ordered groceries, and so I got that done, and I weeded on the woody beds. And I call them woody beds because they're not hugel beds. Some people know what a hugel culture is basically you get like logs and wood, and then you mound dirt on that, and then and it can be 6, 7 foot high, whatever, but it has a wood core to it. And but this is and hugel means high. Hugel culture is high bed culturing. What I've been done in the vineyard is I've dug like a trench between some of my grapevines. My grapevines are all in a row, and I've dug out kind of a trench, and I filled them with wood, and then put the dirt on top of it, and I've got plantings. And so I've got like 5 asparagus beds between out there, and 1 garlic bed, and that's all I've got so far. I keep thinking I'm going to expand. Well, I've been out this today. I was out weeding in the woody beds, and so that was the second of my three things. And obviously, this podcast is a third. So I think I did pretty good with that today. But I listen to audiobooks when I'm doing chores every day. And then after I'm done with chores, I listen to podcasts all day long. So what I'm listening to for audiobooks, I'm on the second time through The Children of Doom by Frank Herbert. And I think that's the second, maybe it might be the third book. I can't remember. I listened to all of them twice. And then I'm also listening to 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. So I always have a good for me book, and I also have a fiction, and I switch off days listening to them. All right, now we're down to the main subject. In advance, I hope I don't really offend a bunch of you with this one. And at the same time, somebody's got to speak out, and this is what we're going to say. And I'm really hoping I can get through this without actually using the F word. We'll see how it goes. But we are going to talk about the F word. And, and the reason I wanted to do it, because it just seems to be a main part of our cultural norms now. Everywhere you go, people are F this, F that, Fing this, Fing that, And so, and I wondered why I felt like it the way I did. So I even started looking up definitions. Well, the definitions of that word is to have sex. Okay. It is also used as a more general expletive or intensifier. An expletive means it's an oath or a swear word. And the intensifier indicates that you really mean what you're saying. So if you put all of that together in a definition, you're talking about a swear word that means sex, and you really mean it. And if you think about how that word is used, it doesn't fit. So why are so many people using this word, and when it doesn't even fit what the definition is, I guess, in their form of using the word. So I cuss. Every once in a while stuff comes flying out of my mouth too. But I cuss for a reason. If I'm not just saying cuss words just for the fun of it. I'm saying there's a reason for it. And there's a saying that came way back. I don't know. I guess it was in the 90s. I don't know. Whenever the computer started going out, maybe it was in the 80s, because I remember when we started having computers, they actually would have signs that said GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Basically, what do you take in if it's garbage or whatever? If you put input garbage into your computer, that's what's going to come out of the computer. Well, that's the same thing with your mind. If you're taking in bad words, bad subjects, bad this and that and the other thing, what's going to come out is garbage also. And because of that, I had to quit listening to some podcasts because of the liberal use of this word. And I got to where I was using the word because I was hearing it all the time. So I got to where I was using that word much more than I really wanted to. And and then it comes down to, if it comes out of your mouth so easily, it's too easy to slip when you're at church, around young children, So if you just don't say it at all, I mean, for those of us who care, then you don't have to worry about something like slipping out. And a podcaster I used to listen to, I get listened to him for years. And he got to where he was sounding, this sounds terrible, like a young teen that had known his mom was gone to the store or something, and he could just say it over and over again. She's at the store. She can't hear me. F this, F that. No, no, no. It was really kind of, like a young teen acting like it was okay. I mean, he would even ask sometimes, hey, if he's on somebody else's podcast, he goes, "Is it okay if we do the F word?" And they go, "Yeah, you can hear." Okay. And then it would just like go and go and go. And you heard it over and over again. And I got to where I didn't want to hear that anymore. And I really liked this guy and learned a lot from him and been listening to him for years, but I just had to turn it off. So, and then when his listeners called him on it, he claimed it was because he was passionate about his subject. Okay, be passionate, and even when you are passionate, if the word comes out occasionally, that's one thing, but not over and over and over. And this highly intelligent man was willing to lose many listeners because he felt that his passionate beliefs should outweigh his audience desire not to hear such a jarring, obscene word repeatedly. And that's unfortunate. I loved his podcast. But I have to monitor what goes into my head, and I feel like that's a good thing for everyone to do. If you think about what the level of, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, when you start feeling depression and stuff, it's because of what you're thinking. And if you are taking in bad news, bad music, bad reports all the time, you're going to start getting depressed. And if you're taking in bad words, you're going to start emitting bad words. So I so I would argue that you can be very passionate about a subject without ever having to say that word. And many use this word in their everyday conversations. Okay, so let's go back to the definition. That it means sex, and it's a bad word or an expletive, and they really, really mean it. Okay. But if you hear some people, they're going, "I'm going to F into the store, F in store, no, 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 no." And there's no change in their tone to express any passion at all. It's just the F words, just spilling out of their mouth over and over. They're not there's no interest in their tone. There's no anger. It's just that word. So that can't fit that definition either. And this seems to indicate that this person does not even know the definition of the word and decides to use it because that's what he's heard his friends say or whatever. It has become an unthinking habit to them, and that's unfortunate also. I saw a meme recently that indicated that using the F word made a person sound less intelligent. And I shared the meme because I agreed with it. And as you can imagine, I got some little bit of backlash on that one. Several people replied that they use it regularly, even women, and didn't feel like they sounded less intelligent at all. And many men were even belligerent in their replies about this point of view. And I would argue that you would never say a word that you wouldn't say in front of your mother or your grandmother. But many of these people would say it around her anyway. So, that would not have been a good argument. But that's also a lack of respect for others. And I'm not asking anybody to change their beliefs or even to begin to agree with me on this subject. I merely mention this because there are many, many people who do believe that someone who uses this word in public, on podcasts, videos, or wherever else, do truly sound less intelligent, especially when it spills out unthinkingly and frequently. So, regardless of whether you care about their thoughts, others are still going to think about you that way anyway. Basically, what I'm saying is, there, what you say, people judge you. Okay, you're going to be judged. We're all going, don't judge, don't judge. You judge all the time. You look at how people dress, and you go, oh, that's cute, or oh, that's ugly. And same thing that comes out of your mouth. If you got ugly coming out of your mouth, people are going to judge that. So there are better ways to describe your mood, beliefs, or anger that will not prove that you have no respect for the people who choose to or have to listen to you. We are all on this earth to be the best person that we can be. So stop and think about what comes out of your mouth, regardless of what it is. I believe that you will find more people respect you and even like you more. You are more likely to get the raise at work that you so desperately need. Respecting your own words and thoughts will take you much farther in life. In a world that seems to be crashing down around us, strive to make your own world and those around you a little better. It's not too late to turn the tide. And that's all I've got to say about this subject. So I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. I still haven't figured out how to make it work on the email address, but you can still email me at theciaellis@gmail.com, theciaellis @gmail.com. Give me your views on the F word and if you think I'm being overbearing or if you think that or if you agree with me, I'd like to know. I'd like to hear about it. Okay, we'll talk to you about Streamyard. That's what this is, the platform I'm using now to actually record this. I can write to this because I'm doing this Grandma's Life. It is both audio and video, and you can make it where you can like this one. The excuse me. The video portion of it is going to go onto my YouTube channel. The audio portion of it is going to go out on iTunes and all those other, all the different podcatchers and stuff. So I'll have both of them on there. And the reason I'm telling you about this is because, as I usually say, we've all got stories, we've all got thoughts, we've all got things. I mean, we've all have fascinating lives. And this is a really wonderful golden age of recording the lives that we've lived so they can be there for our children and grandchildren. And podcasting is the way to do it. Even if very few or nobody even hears your podcast, someday your children will because they'll want to hear what you have to say, different things like that. Like I was telling you on one of my other ones, that Tom's ancestors had a killing in their family, and we recently and it was back in the 40s, and so the families all kind of split up, because of that murder. And we had heard recently that this other lady goes, "Oh, I think I know that story because that's some of my ancestors too." And so we're actually trying to excuse me, we're trying to find that recording so that Tom can listen to it and see if it is the same story, the same incident, that this is an older person is recording things in his life, but he just put it, I think it's just on the thumb drive for him. So, but do a podcast. It works out pretty good. So use my link below for StreamYard, and and it doesn't cost you anything more to do that, but it does help me pay for doing some of these podcasts. And I would want you to consider doing your own podcast, even if it's not your own story, if it's something that you're interested in. There's one lady who does a podcast that does it on sewing. I mean, and she's put out a bunch of podcasts on sewing, and I'm always finding new podcasts to listen to, and because your interests kind of change and stuff as you go, so it's kind of cool. All right, where I can be found, I have Grandma's Homestead Farm, Grandma's Homestead YouTube channel, Kinsey Lackey Sports YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram as Thecia Ellis, TikTok is Thecia Ellis, Facebook Thecia V Dayhoff Ellis, MeWe Thecia Ellis, Twitter Thecia. Well, okay, I put Twitter. I should be putting X, huh? Thecia E, and Rumble is Thecia E. But I also have a YouTube channel called Farm Animal Life, and I just put a camera in, like either a brooder or a pen or something like that, and it's no words, no storyline. Just put the camera in there with them and let animals be animals, and it's kind of interesting. Like the most recent one I put out is I had put some layer chicks that were 2 or 3 weeks old or more into a chicken tractor, and So I'd have the long form, like 40, 50 minutes, something like that. But then I also go through and I find little different ones of that same video and do shorts on it. So that's Farm Animal Life YouTube channel. All right, guys. I really hope I didn't really aggravate the crap out of a whole bunch of you. But if it did, if nothing else, I would pray that you would start thinking about what comes out of your mouth. I pray that you start thinking about what you take into your head and start protecting what goes into your head. So, because that is a major part of mental health is protecting what goes in. And so I pray that things go well for you. God bless, guys. I'll see you next time.